everyone. I'm Carrie Pena. Thank you so much for joining us for our talk show In the Moment, focused entirely on living your best life in the now. I am here with my co-hosts, Gelie Akhenblit, who is the founder of Networking Phoenix, and Zenobia Mertel, who is a life and style columnist with InspiredMedia360.com. And in the moment with us today, our first guest of 2018, Sean Dowdell. Thank you so much for being here. You are the author of Tattooed Millionaire and the founder and CEO of Club Tattoo. And a really awesome guy.
Thank you so much.
So
Thanks
great
for having
to have
me, you guys.
here.
Great to be here.
Let's start by talking about your book. So you built up a hugely successful company, and yours is kind of, if you don't mind me saying, but it's a rags to riches story as it's been promoted.
That's absolutely true, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it.
So I started the company back in 1995. I was 20 years old in Tempe, Arizona. I basically saved up about $7,000 worth of money from waiting tables and started my first entrepreneurial journey with Club Tattoo. And basically I was in the music industry at the time in a band called Grey Days. The singer was a very famous guy. His name is Chester Bennington. He went on to Linkin Park fame. At the time we were gaining a lot of local notoriety and fame and doing really well. So we leveraged the actual fame and popularity of the band and helped the tattoo shop from that. And by doing so, the tattoo shop grew immensely, and then eventually the tattoo shop started helping the band.
Yeah. Why did you want to write your book and document your story? Because you really have built a truly successful empire on so many levels.
Thank you. I wanted to get the story out there because I do a lot of public speaking around the world. And inevitably, somebody asked me at the end of every lecture, do you have a book? Can I buy your book? And my answer had been no up till about a year ago. So I finally just hunkered down and wrote it.
And it says, so I was reading a little bit about the book. So it says, Tattooed Millionaire is a story about a young man, Sean Dowdell, that grew up in a lower middle class family in the 1970s and worked his way up through the music industry in a band called Grey Days with Chester Bennington of Linkin Park. Eventually, Sean ended up creating and building his own business in the tattoo and piercing industry called Club Tattoo. And this is truly a story that is being talked about nationwide, because not only are you making a ton of money, but you also have rebranded in a way how people think about the tattoo and piercing industry.
Absolutely. Very proud of that. We've taken traditionally kind of gross and seedy industry and turned it into a very upscale and female-friendly environment. And that's been our business model since day one. And of course, it's developed and matured over the last 23 years with my partner, Thora, and my wife. We've really developed a great branding identity because of the aesthetics that we've put into the business model.
What is the most, the biggest piece of advice that you would give to people about building a business and brand?
First, don't start a business unless you're absolutely passionate about it, and don't start off by asking people for money. It's a dead giveaway that you're not really serious about starting your own business. And generally, the biggest problem for small business startups are not the initial cash flow injection. It's the fact that you're not really passionate. You want somebody else to kind of build your dream for you. If you can show people that you have the energy and the effort to put in on the front end, usually those other ancillary items will just fall right in place.
Gelie, that has to resonate with you. You talk to people so much day in, day out about building businesses.
Right, absolutely. When I'm thinking, well, that's how I started my company. I mean, it was just talking about energy. Like, you don't sleep when you're launching something.
No, and you don't even think about sleep.
No, or showering. I mean, who needs that too, you know?
Well, I showered.
Before you came
Lucky
to the show today.
I wanted to ask about mentorship, because especially in that particular industry, it's not like you go to college and get, and it just lines up with the next job. That, with becoming, kind of that offbeat brand, you needed a lot of mentors to help you along the way.
I did have a couple of really great mentors in my life. My father was a great work ethic mentor. My grandfather was my dreamer mentor. He's the one that really explained to me at a young age that to follow my dreams wasn't going to happen just fall in your lap. Like, you have a dream, develop that dream, make it your own, and go out and make it happen. He's the one that actually made it attainable for me, made me understand that I could get it. It wasn't just a dream, it was an action plan. It was a goal. And that was my biggest dreamer mentor. And then business mentorship, our band manager early on, his name was Kerry Rose, and he really taught me a lot about business. And then I went to ASU for Started out as a business major, ended up being a philosophy major, made it to my senior year last semester, ended up dropping out. My parents wanted to kill me because they thought I was throwing it all away, but I had found something I was passionate about. I was in a touring band. I just opened up my first business. I was waiting tables full-time to sustain my lifestyle and going to college full-time. It was an impossible situation, so something had to give, and I ended up giving up college, which at the time was a very scary choice. Retrospect, it was the right choice.
So you are now a multi-millionaire, but how do you define success? Because it strikes me that you do so much giving back. So it's not just about money for you. And I know your wife, Thora, who's amazing, and she's a big driver in the company as well.
Absolutely. Well, she's my right hand. I couldn't do all this without her, for sure. We make great partners. So I would not define success by money at all. I think if you're great at something and you're passionate about something, the money will end up coming around. I don't care if you're picking up garbage. If you're great at it, you will end up making money at it. So I would never define success on money. Have you had an impact on whatever it is that you're doing, whatever field you're in? Have you had a positive impact in the way that that industry views itself and operates within its own confines? Then I think that would be one way of defining success. But primarily, I would say, are you happy? Are you happy doing what you're doing? And do you love going to work? I've heard so many things that say, I don't work a day in my life because I love what I do. And I really believe that that is a true thought, a true way to live.
I really hope that, and this is season 2 of this show, and I started this show for a very simple reason, because I wanted to share incredible stories like yours, because I hear so many of them, and I really hope 2018 for people will be a time to really think about what makes you happy. Rather than just walking through day to day or increasing your bank account, that's all fine, but what makes you happy? And that's what's so cool about what you guys have done and continue to build and grow. I do want to ask you, so you mentioned Chester Bennington of Linkin Park. This was your very close friend and your bandmate, a business partner, and he committed suicide. What has that been like for you to go through?
Wow, that's a very deep and complex question. The quick answer is going to be, it's been very difficult. He was such a great human being, and most people don't realize, they think of him as just this great singer and this big rock star, but honestly, that's just a very small part of who he was. He was such a giving, great man. He was one of the most compassionate and generous human beings I've ever known in my life. He always made me want to be a better person. So whenever I'm feeling like a jerk, I try to think about him, and he'll be like, all right, calm down, Sean. You could do this a little bit better. You could be a little nicer. You could do this a little bit with the right intentions. So he was just a great guy. How has it been after his passing? We spent the first 6 months doing a lot of traveling and speaking to a lot of his fans and trying to give them a little bit of closure. We did some stuff in Vegas and LA and Phoenix and tried to give some venues to where the fans could come and share their feelings on what he meant to them. And so I tried to be kind of a medium for that and just let people know that he's gone, but at the same time, he's not gone. He's still with us. Those amazing lyrics and songs that he wrote for you guys, because he didn't write that stuff for himself. He truly wrote those songs for his fans. They're still here, and you can still use them for your own emotional support. And it's been a very rough road, but I will wrap up this thought with, this segment with, I'm very grateful to have known him and to have played with him and to just have had him in my life. I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
Sean, thank you so much for being here
and
for sharing your thoughts. And now we want to thrive with Gelie. So Gelie, you are kicking it off strong in 2018, and your topic for today is so poignant, and it works perfectly with what Sean was just talking about. You're outlining the 10 most important things we can do for the people we love. Yeah. You said this was a topic that you read about on Tiny Buddha, the website, and it really resonated with you. Why?
Yeah, it really did resonate with me. I'm all about relationships, and usually people hear me talk about business relationships and networking and how we can connect with strangers, but at the end of the day, it's not just about connecting with strangers. It's about the people that are in our lives, the people we're connected to, the people we love, the people that are part of our tribe. And oftentimes it's easy to just keep moving with life and forget to reach out to them and remind them that I love you, I'm here for you, right? Because on a daily basis, we don't really know what our friends are going through. you know? And a lot of times I think when you're going through stuff, you tend to withdraw and not start reaching out to people. So I was just doing some reading online, came across this amazing article, and they had top 10 tips of what we can do for people that we love. And I couldn't memorize them all, so I borrowed my daughter's flashcards. In her lunch, I write little love notes to her and put them in her lunch. So this is what, anyways.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, so number 1 is be present, which is pretty obvious, put the phone down, right? And we all know this, but how easy it is, like, oh, I got a text. So just put your phone down the other way. Don't even look at that text.
Yeah.
Number 2, listen deeply, right? And understand and just be there. People aren't always looking for advice. They just want to be heard.
That's
So
so
just,
true.
just listen. Number 3, speak truthfully, right? And I love this quote. They said, let's be beautiful messes together, right? Because we're not all perfect. So fine, you mess up, I mess up. Let's just be honest with each other.
And your people, you should always be able to speak truthfully anyways to your people. Yeah.
Well, I think easier said than done,
Yeah.
but yes, that's the goal, is speak your truth. And I think this is one that I actually get to practice constantly, how to be honest with my friends. Number 4, accept fully. And, and this is pretty obvious, but accept the full package. Because again, we are all beautiful messes. We all have our own quirks. And so just, if you can be accepting of that with me, I'll be accepting of that with you, vice versa. But again, true friendship. Number 5, interpret compassionately, right? So instead of assuming the worst, give people the benefit of the doubt. Again, maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they did say something rude, but they didn't mean it. And I think a lot of times, like for me personally, I've heard this throughout my life. People say, I thought that was very rude. And I'm like, what was rude? I said that in such a loving way, And I'm like, what do you mean that
You're
was
very
rude?
direct, though, which is good.
I
think.
am very direct.
Yeah.
Some of those make sense.
Yes, right, exactly. But, again, so the people around me, I'm like, guys, listen, just, you're going to have to love me for these moments.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be rude, and my close friends know that. Over the years, they've learned that. So, number 6, forgive often. And we hear this all the time. But I think sometimes it's actually difficult to forgive. And, if it's too big to discard, they suggest to talk it through, which, again, is another obvious one, which is easier said than done. But again, if you just put these things on your, like maybe I'm going to try to be a better friend to my friends and be a little bit more conscious of it. So get those conversations going. Number 7, appreciate vocally. You're awesome and you should know it, right? So maybe if your friend is a great parent, maybe your friend is extremely talented. Whatever it is, just acknowledge these little things about them, even if it's obvious, but say it. Number 8, give freely. And number 10, love anyway, right? So we are good people doing our best to navigate a sometimes painful world. Just remind your friends that they're not alone.
These are great.
Sean, what resonates with you from that list?
It sounds very similar to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which I
I was
find
thinking that too, yeah.
very true statements. First seek to understand and before being understood. I thought that was awesome. And then be lavish in your praise. I love that. I always love to give compliments to people, and not as to be a butt kiss or whatever or anything like that. It's when you tell somebody something nice, it makes them feel good. It releases serotonin into our brain and makes us, in turn, hopefully, go back and do something nice for somebody else.
Good list, Gel. Love it.
That was great.
I thought it was great too. I wish it was mine. It wasn't. I borrowed it, but good stuff.
All right, now it's time to vibe. And Zenobia brings us the latest happenings from around town. She writes a life and style column for inspiredmedia360.com. And today you're talking about making some tweaks. Well, in your case, there's some major tweaks. But how people can make some renovations and freshen things up for the new year.
Yes, new year, people start thinking of how they're going to change. And with that is your sanctuary, your home. We started with, let's move one wall. And here we are 5 months later in a rental with another 5 to go. We took the plunge. So I wanted to share what I've learned in this journey because we did not intend to go this deep, this far, this fast. And here we are. And for those that maybe know that's not in their world, tips along the way for making little pops of changes. And we have Oscar de las Salas who gave us some of his top tips. So we're with the experts. And okay, so scratching back, we realized this is the house. We want to be here, want to stay. And so we have gutted immensely. And it is such a business, this renovation world, this remodel world. I really have Great accolades for anyone who's gone through it, that's married, that has kids, because it's a village. It takes everyone. But what I loved along the way, there are little ways you can really give back too. We basically donated our entire kitchen, and it was a fairly nice new kitchen, appliances and everything. There's companies that will come in, take out literally the entire cabinetry and all the appliances and give it to those in need. I loved that part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the best thing we've done that has felt so good along this kind of bumpy road.
Yeah, and a lot of times you have to pick and choose too the projects that you want to concentrate on, and that was what Oscar was talking to you about. He gave you some tips on the things that are key. If you have to pick and choose just one thing or another.
Exactly. If you're not going all in and you're not like upheaving for a year like we will be, he said, so right now, and this has always been true, kitchens, bathrooms, and these are the top trends right now, which we're incorporating a lot of, which he talked about, so I felt like, yeah, we're nailing it. Basically, exposed millwork is really cool right now. Gone are the days of the dark Tuscan and the dark colors and all that. Light, bright, exposed architecture. Oscar was so cute. He went on forever with the best tips, but grays, neutrals. He said paint is amazing. Wallpaper, I know you like that.
I love wallpaper.
I love wallpaper, really hot. And he said, you know, I keep going to Jonathan Adler and restoration. And he's like, don't do that. Don't do that. There are other places too. So that's where designers can jump in and help. But one thing he said fully 100% is do check with the real estate agent before you go down this path, because return on investment's important too, and you know, knowing where you'll be in 5-10 years as you're making all these changes and jumping in. Oscar's the best though.
Yeah, Oscar De La
and he's
Salle.
so fun.
We love
with
him.
It. So yeah.
All right,
so
now
happy
it's time.
remodeling.
We're going to check in with Coach Dar now for a little Wednesday wisdom, and Coach Dar is talking about picking one word that will help you define your best year. Take a look.
Hey everyone, it's Coach Dar, and we're into a new year, and I'm so excited. It's 2018. But what I want to know is, what are you going to do different? How are you going to make 2018 better than 2017? Different. You know, what are the things that you're going to level up on and challenge yourself for? And here's the one tip that I could share to just kick off this year. Come up with a focus, a vision, a word for the year, your mantra. So for my year, my word is going to be bold. So everything that I do, whether it's in my health, my relationships, my career, my fitness, whatever it may be, I want to be bolder. I want to be stronger. I don't want to be maybe afraid of certain things. I want to take more chances and risks. That's what I want to do in my life. But what's your word? Someone said to me, Dar, I want my word to be thrive. Another person said, I want it to be accountability. Another person said, I want it to be commit, because they want to commit. Another person said they want their word to be finish, because they want to finish what they start. So what is your word? I want to hear about it. Write it down, write it on something, commit to it, and share it with us all. I'm excited for this year. Let's make 2018 our best, better than last year. I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Dar. So what would your guys' word be?
Starting with me?
Yeah.
I'm looking at you.
My word for 2018 is patience.
That's a good one.
Love it.
I need
Good.
more of
Patience
it.
for yourself or for others?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Everything that I deal with, it's one of my weak points, something I want to work on.
Yeah, good. Z?
Perspective.
Perspective is a great one.
Big,
Yep.
big right now.
Gelie?
Stability. Could use more of that.
Yeah. And mine is balance. Because I spent last year working so much, building up the company, doing a lot of different projects. I want to make sure I keep that balance, so I'm also really enjoying everything, enjoying the journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's an
You
important
have
part
to.
of it. Yeah. I don't want to be working 100 hours a week. That's not my goal.
Nobody ever dies wishing they would have worked more.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Now we're going to go out to lunch with moms. So each week we check in with David Lux and his mama, Lux, who we love. And they take us on their adventures with them. This week they're at the Sicilian Butcher. And this is from the Maggiore family, who opened their first restaurant, Tommaso's on Camelback, back in 1977, David writes. And he says that he chose the bruschetta because, of course, it's bread, and he loves bread. Mama Lux, he says, went off the beaten path with a plate of Kraft meatballs on a bed of pasta. Since you know by now she always sends the leftovers home with me, I was very happy when she made this choice. And he says, for dessert, they brought brought out the most sinfully freshly baked donuts drizzled with powdered sugar, and he says those were absolutely delicious. The restaurant's vibe, according to David, is neighborhood industrial with some nice touches like the hanging cleavers as a room divider. The owner and the executive chef, Joey, came over and talked to us about the history and posed in front of his blown-up shot of his father, who adorns the dining area. What a good son, David says. For a restaurant barely a month old, the Sicilian Butcher is firing on all cylinders. 2 forks way up from me and Mama Lux. D-Lux, thank you so much. What's your favorite place to eat?
I love Mastro City Hall. I also love the Mission in Scottsdale.
Mission's cool, yeah. It's got such a great vibe to it. All right, we're going to close out today with our Do Good segment. We like to check in with people who are doing amazing things all around the Valley and making our community better. And we are today checking out Barrett-Jackson. So our friends Craig and Carolyn Jackson, they are huge supporters of the Phoenix Heart Ball and of the American Heart Association. In fact, Carolyn is the Heart Ball chairman this year, and her platform is called Driven Hearts. So they had this Bugatti out there wrapped,
so nice.
It's so beautiful, wrapped with the theme Driven Hearts at the media event for Barrett-Jackson. And Craig Jackson spoke, and he says, quote, "A number of our treasured friends in the collector car community have passed away as a result of heart issues, including 2 men very close to Barrett-Jackson. In honor of all of our loved ones affected by heart disease, we are committed to supporting the American Heart Association's efforts by helping to raise money, bring awareness, and promote heart health." So they are really doing a lot, including these new license plates that you see on your screen right here, available for purchase, and with $17 from each plate sold, benefiting the American Heart Association. Also, Barrett-Jackson drivers will be sporting the Driven Hearts logo on their shirts, and auction attendees will notice the acronym FAST, which means face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, time to call 911. This is a really important part of the outreach in the stroke prevention. And that FAST acronym will be all around the Barrett-Jackson event sites as a way of bringing attention to the warning signs of stroke. So bravo to Craig and Carolyn Jackson. Carolyn is going to make an amazing chair. And just for full disclosure, although it's my show, so I guess I really don't have to do that. But full disclosure, I'm also on the Heart Ball Committee, as is Zenobia. So this is also a cause that's near and dear to our hearts. Our final word before we wrap up today, Sean, you've been a great guest. What words of inspiration do you want to leave the audience with?
You can do whatever you want to do. Set your mind to it and take the first step. I think a lot of people, they're worried about step number 10 when they haven't taken step number 1. A lot of people ask me what the secret is, and I say, honestly, take the first step. You can figure everything else out as you're in motion, but get yourself in motion to make it happen.
I love that, because you say a lot of people come to you and they want you to kind of do it all for them.
Yeah, well, a lot of people want you to fund their dreams, and they don't realize that it doesn't work like that. You know, sometimes the worst thing you can do, and hear me through this thought process, is give somebody a bunch of money, because you won't make affordable mistakes if somebody gives you $100,000 to do something. You'll overspend on things that if you didn't have that money, you would take smaller risks and affordable risks, meaning if you fail losing $1,000 or screw up with a couple grand versus a huge chunk of money that you can't ever get back and that you can't recover from.
Yeah, that's good advice. And hold up your book there to the camera so we can see that, and tell people where they can find your book, Tattooed Millionaire.
It's Tattooed Millionaire. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. It is everywhere. So you can get it at clubtattoo.com. You can get it at SeanDowdell.com. BusinessGameChangers.com. It's everywhere.
Thank you so much for being here. And I'm having a happy hour with your lovely and awesome wife in a couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. And thanks to all of you for joining us. We really appreciate you being here and part of our mission at Inspired Media 360. You can subscribe to all of our original content at inspiredmedia360.com. And of course, get with us on Instagram and Facebook at Inspired Media 360. Until next time, guys, stay inspired.